What is going on, fight fans? So today we're going to talk about spamming, right? Like, this has been a point of a contention for a lot of people. Some people are experiencing a lot of spamming. Some people are not experiencing as much spamming. Now, here's my take on this. The biggest question is, will V2 damage, the version 2 damage system, will that address spamming and make it better in terms of experiencing that and having it be less frequent, or having it be less effective, even if somebody's still like a guy, like a person hitting their head against the wall, still gonna spam even if it doesn't work, right? There are people like that, believe it or not. They're like, screw it, this is my strategy, I'm sticking with it. Are we gonna have at least less effective spamming when V2 is implemented into the ranking system? Because it's hard to tell when it's custom, right? When it's custom, people are gonna play by the rules. Nobody's gonna really go crazy to try to get a win, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't go on your record. It's basically sparring. It's just for fun. But when it is put on your record, people are willing to do certain things so that they can have a high, elo, right? Or for them to be have a high win-loss record, right? People will do certain things and try to get that advantage as much as they can. So my question is, the actual essence of this question is V1, which is the current damage system that we have now, better than V2 to mitigate spamming? Because the truth is, in a video game format, there's always going to be something someone can find that they can do over and over again that will give them a disproportionate advantage over somebody else who's doing a variety of different things, no matter what you do, right? Of course, you can do certain things to try to circumvent them as much as you possibly can, but you are fighting kind of like a 10-5 battle, right? Where a person who has 10 advantages over your 5 doesn't mean that they will automatically win, but you're climbing a mountain while they're kind of just walking up a hill, and they can lose walking up a hill, but you have to win by climbing a mountain, if that makes sense. So you can overcome spamming, but it doesn't feel good to have to do so much work when you know the other person is not doing as much work as you get in any given moment. So I get that. But my honest experience, right? Let's go. This is anecdotal, by the way, guys. Like, my experience is an anecdote, right? It is not the silver bullet, right? Or the smoking gun that says, hey, Box Fanatico experienced this, therefore it has to be this way. No, my experience is simply an anecdote of mine experience, which is why I always want you guys to add your experience down in the comment section below, because I want this to not just be a hub of the video and how I'm talking about it, but also a kind of explain or have a comment section that is rich with your experience and different anecdotes, so that I can kind of learn from what's going on with you guys. Since version 1, I have won 9 out of 10 fights. I have not lost a fight to someone spamming in version 1. I have not experienced someone trying to spam in version 1. I have experienced spamming in version 0, which was the one before version 1. And there were some people that were able to win, right? In the beginning, when I was first experiencing that, I'm like, what was going on with this? And then over time, I got more used to people doing that. And then I was able to create a strategy that was very effective against spamming. It's not fun, right? Because you want to do different things when you're boxing. You want to have a little bit more fun. But it's still a thing that can happen, right? I think there are a few limitations that if a few things were tweaked, it could increase the chances of mitigating spam. I don't think that version 2 will take spam out of the game. I don't think that. If people are still experiencing spam in version 1, even though version 1 has the spam, the if your arms are out, it has the counter, which increases your damage by 30. Remember, guys, if you hit them with a 50 damage, a total of 50, they are immediately rocked. And if you hit them with 50 while they're rocked, they drop, right? They get knocked down. If you hit them with 70, a one hit of 70, it drops them for a knockdown, and one hit of 100 is instant KO, right? So if you have your hands out, right, if you're just going like this, you're leaving yourself open for any hit to do whatever damage that hit is going to do plus 30. So your hands out, that's a counter damage. You automatically are already in 30. So hands out puts you at 30. Hands down puts you at 30. Negative 30. So if I just got to hit you with a 20 and it's going to rock you if your hands are out or if your hands are down, right? And also if people do the height glitch where their feet are floating off the ground and they're moving like this and they're floating. If they do the height glitch, they're also going to get hit with 30, right? So floating feet, 30. Hands out, 30. And hands down, 30 plus whatever damage you're going to do. So if you hit them with a 20 and they have a 30 already, negative 30 already attached to them, you're going to go ahead and do a total damage of 50, which will rock them, right? And if they still keep doing that, you just have to hit them with a 20 while they're rocked, and you're going to do even more damage because when rocked, actually, when either way, when you're rocked, you're already negative 30 when you're rocked. So you don't have to do much to drop them after that. Just have to get at least a 20, right? So there's all of those things that are deterrents for spam, yet we still see spam in version 1, according to a lot of players. Version 2, however, has something unique. The placement of the hits in terms of what part of your hand hit the target. And we've tested this, as we saw in the previous video, that, you know, if you slap, right, if you hit with the inside of your glove, it's not going to do as much damage. If you hit with the back of your glove, it's not going to do much damage. You have to hit with the flat part of your fist right here. Like this part right here has to make a connection to the fighter plus the velocity, of course, and that will add damage. Now, I've noticed that adds an incredible amount of damage, but is it still going to stop spam, right? Sure, they have to be accurate, but I feel like a fighter that spams will find a way to always be like we have to be honest. There's a skill to being a really good spammer, right? You could be like a whack spammer and those are easy to overcome, but there are some spammers that like they make it an art. They go, okay, I have to do something with my body so that I always land this fist flush, but I want to be able to be as effective as possible and as efficient as possible. So how can I do it where I could replicate this consistently, not get tired and do it over and over again? They're gonna find out a way to do that. They're gonna find out a way to do it. I think that the best thing that we can do to actually increase or the likelihood of spamming, and this is gonna sound devastating for a lot of people, but we gotta increase the round limit. We gotta increase it. Make it 6 rounds. I know it sounds crazy. You're probably gonna be tired and everything, but make it 6 rounds. You know why? Because even if somebody's spamming, there's a lot of things that can come into your favor. All it takes is one knockdown and you're in a tied fight no matter what, because one knockdown will bring the score to a 10-8. I don't think this game has any system to pay attention to how much damage you do to bring that 10-8 up to a 10-9. Like you get dropped or you dominated the whole time. I don't know if they have a system that'll pull that 8 up to a 9, but when you get knocked down, it's automatically, for the most part, even in real boxing, is a 10-8. In the game, I think it's just automatically a 10-8, which means that no matter what, if the other person doesn't knock that person down, that one knockdown that person did to them will cause it to bare minimum be a tie, just off of one knockdown. I feel like that is way too punishing. If you add 6 rounds, you do 2 things. One, you can overcome a knockdown. And I think you could overcome 2 knockdowns in a 6-round fight. So even 2 knockdowns could be you could overcome those 2, right? I could be wrong though. I might be wrong. I'm probably not doing the math right, but at least you could overcome one. You might be able to overcome two. I don't care to do the math right now in my head. So the whole point is you can overcome at least one, right? And then also it gets them more tired. They can't keep doing it this way. It's easy if you go, okay, I know I got 3 rounds. Let me go. Hey. Oh my gosh. I don't know what I'm about. And then it's like the 3rd round and they're dead on the floor. But guess what? They're spamming work. They'll go ahead and take a 5-hour break and come back and do it all over again. But if they have to do this through 6 rounds, they might be in deep water by round 4. And then you could start dropping them, because guess what's going to happen? Hands are going to be going low, right? Movement is going to be sluggish. With the hands going low, we got 30 damage on that bad boy. Bam! Right? We were patient and we waited you out. We were patient and waited you out. Now we could start dropping you, or we could start tagging you, right? Like, they're going to have to be, like, we need to get these people to have almost Olympic style stamina if they want to keep doing that spamming stuff. And the only way to do that is to increase the round limit. In my opinion, version 1 is still better than version 2, because it still gives at least the person who does boxing technique, it gives them a level of consistency. While the version 2 is so rigorous and rigid that there is no room for nuance. You have to land it right here. And if you ever seen boxing, sometimes you do a check punch, sometimes you land it like right here. You don't land it, you flush, but you get a good shot in there, right? Not at everything, even sometimes when you do a body shot, you hit with this. It's not everything is always perfectly flat. So there's so much, it's so rigid, and like that you have to follow this strict rule. And I think in terms of the overall consistency, like, yes, a boxer might be easier for them to get that hit more consistently than somebody who doesn't. That's very possible. But because of that, everything around, like all the other things you've been doing, doesn't get the reward that it should get. And it's like, you got to get that one hit in, or those 2-3 hits in, that's really, really powerful, so you can get that big reward, sure, but it's much harder to actually pull off. As we saw in my fight from yesterday, there were so many times where it's like, I won the fight because I dropped them, because I was landing those when it counted. But the overall damage, when the person basically had their hands down the whole fight, the overall damage that I did didn't supersede their overall damage. While in version 1, constant consistency in terms of building up damage with less of a possibility of spamming from version 0. I think version 2 is so rigorous that it also takes away from the average player trying to play the game and build up damage throughout the fight. I mean, with the jab in version 1, I could just boom, damage, and just create damage. And if somebody want to be crazy, I can move back and just keep throwing that jab and keep creating damage the whole time. With version 2, I don't see that as the case. That's just my 2 cents. Again, my experience is anecdotal. The only loss I've had in version 1 was a legitimate loss. The person didn't spam. The person didn't do. It was a legitimate loss. There were times when they would take breaks, and we were like trying to gauge distance, and we were being tentative. It was a regular fight, and the person just won. Just normally won. I felt like, okay, he won. That's it. That's all it was. No spamming. I haven't dealt with spamming yet. But I know I've seen in the comments that you guys still are dealing with spamming. But my thing is, I don't think version 2 will fix that. But I do think that increasing the round limit, as grueling as it sounds, will force people to be a little bit more patient. If not, you got to have darn near Olympic style lungs to deal with this. And I'm sure there's going to be people that's going to try to train themselves to get, but what you're doing is you're moving the carrot as far as possible for people to decide, hey, you know what? It's probably just easier if I don't spam. If I just play normally, I might actually get more. The efficiency ratio will finally be in the favor of just playing normally, because that's all it is. Spammers that are notorious and just want to spam no matter what to win, They just gauge the efficiency ratio. Is it more efficient for me to spam, or is it more efficient for me to play normal? According to all the stuff that I know and I can do, it is more efficient for me to spam, therefore I will spam. Is it more efficient for me to play normal because I'll be way too tired, I'll have to do way too much work to try, because it's 6 rounds? Okay, then I'm just gonna play normal. That's all it is. It's not to punish the spammer in the fight, it's to deter them from spamming at all. That's my hope when it comes to these changes that are trying to, work at spamming and dealing with spamming. So that's my 2 cents for today. Just wanted to have a conversation, give my kind of idea for what I think would help. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Also, 6 rounds gives people opportunity, right? I mean, if you lose 2 rounds, you're done. You're done in the game. If you know you lost 2 rounds, you're done. But if you know that you have 6 rounds to work with, you might say to yourself, you know what? I think I could do this, man. I think I could just, relax and be patient. I could start adjusting. Even adjusting will have more value, because you could do it over. You could play the long game as opposed to playing that short burst game that you have to play, because you only have 3 rounds, which is basically Olympic style. 3 rounds, amateur style, 3 rounds. Get in there, blitz. If you watch any amateur fights, there's a lot of blitzing in that, because you only got 3 rounds, so you can't really play the waiting game too much. All right, hopefully this video has gave you guys some insight. Of course, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments section below. And until the next one, peace out, guys.